G'day guys, welcome to round 2 of our VYC Men Youth 1 and Youth 2 finals. Now, all of these are now elimination games as we progress forward just 3 weeks. So we have VYC Men kick it off with Melbourne, who will host Diamond Valley. Now, we spoke about earlier in our other podcast that all 4 teams here in VYC Men are all from the one conference. There was some upsets in week 1, which found some very, very interesting matchups here, where we see Melbourne, who finished first, versus Diamond Valley, who were third, and then Kilsyth, who finished second, who are going to come up against Ringwood, who finished fourth. So some very, very interesting matchups that we probably didn't quite expect to happen, but we're here now. It is what it is, and it'll be exciting no matter what.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's funny, I see the Melbourne Diamond Valley game and I immediately have flashbacks to, it's probably about 10 years ago, I'm probably showing my age now, but when Jack Purchase and co at Melbourne used to go against Trevor Lee's Diamond Valley boys, and they had a huge rivalry for years there, but I'm reliving the glory days now, Ted.
Yeah, you are a bit.
But no, this is going to be a hell of a matchup too, because you think about Melbourne, you got Mason Gaze and Taj. We'll say Taj because I don't want to butcher his surname. But you see those guys going head to head with the Polesman brothers, and you're sitting there going, "What a matchup this is."
Yeah, 100%. And look, Melbourne took out both of the games in the regular season. Melbourne were at full strength, so Gazy, the absolute veteran player coach, was there with Mason and Taj both playing in those games. So it was a bit unlikely for Diamond Valley because when they did have those clashes, those two and head coach were in NBL 1. So it was a little bit unfortunate for Diamond Valley, but no, kudos to Melbourne for making the finals here, and kudos again to Diamond Valley to continue to progress through in what people didn't really expect to get at the start of the season. They were sort of struggling. They were finding pieces and they couldn't really get themselves going. But second half of the season, they went absolutely nuts. They had a massive stretch towards the end of the season, and then they defeated Sandringham just last weekend. So
yeah, and I think you're being a little bit kind there. I think Coach Torres would put it bluntly. They were not very good early days.
You can say it.
They weren't meeting their own expectations or the expectations of the league early days, but they found themselves in some really good form towards the back end of the season, and they got themselves up to third position. And then, they're going to be primed and ready to take on Melbourne, and they're not going to go down without a fight, that's for sure.
No, they won't. And there'll be 2 very, very different styles of play. The Tigers have their system that they run and grind through day in, day out with their back cuts and all their special plays, whereas Diamond Valley plays such a simple style of basketball, like pick and rolls or isolation plays and just genuine flow. So it'll be very interesting to see how both teams guard each other and how it just folds out. But
yeah, an exciting matchup for sure. And then we look to the other one, the Kilsyth versus Ringwood, somewhat of a pretty local battle. And the 2 teams who, Kilsyth have been really good all year. Ringwood runners up last year, and they just seem to be the team you don't want to play in finals.
Yeah, you really don't. They're 2 teams that play, very, very fast in transition, but then when we get in the half court, they execute well. They play with poise and they execute to a T to some extent. They do obviously have those sloppy plays like every youth league team does, but then they're able to make up for it either on the defensive end or in their next set. So it'll be very interesting to see. We did see Bailey Ruff from Ringwood injure himself last weekend, so we're unsure of what's going to happen there, whether he'll play or not. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed he does play. It did look pretty bad, Ted, but fingers crossed he can get himself up and about. But the really pleasing thing there for Ringwood is they got to display their depth at the power forward centre position. So they'll be ready to go. But Kilsyth have been a really strong team led by Ben Barra all year. So it'll be a really good game to get down to.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we move to Youth League 1 men, as we have Wyndham and Hume jump into the pitch here. Wyndham will be hosting Keysborough on the Sunday, as will Hume on the Sunday be hosting Geelong. Now, Wyndham should be at full strength, so we'll see Oscar Jones, I believe, in that lineup, which will make things exceptionally hard for the Cougars. with just their absolute intense scoring power. As the Wyndham way is, they just go and score the ball at ease. Joshua Norling, dominant point guard who's just going to do it all really. So it's going to be very difficult for these Keysborough boys to get it done.
Yeah, but I think the when you look at Keysborough, I hope they don't mind me saying this, but they've probably overachieved and exceeded expectations this year. Going to sixth, getting up into sixth position was a really good start, and then they managed to knock off Sherbrooke in the first week of finals, and I think they've been coached really well throughout the season, and the coach is going to have them really well prepared to face a really strong Wyndham team. And Keysborough are a team that's not going to go down without a fight. They will battle and they will scrap against the more highly fancied Wyndham unit. I just think watch this space, and Wyndham better come making sure they're ready to play and switched on. They can't take this one easily at all.
Yeah, 100%. And another team that sort of can't take their game for granted is Hume as they come up against Geelong United, the team that probably has a very, very, very sharp and dominant five that they have when they play quite a lot together with Marak and Terrell and Moran and Bailey Bruce, I believe it is, Postorino. So I think that five is quite exceptional when they're clicking. But Hume are so experienced with the likes of Corey Fittis and Elijah Tay, even Sam O'Toole. There's some very, very strong and just poised pieces here that the Geelong are going to have to battle with. But I like it. I think there's a lot of bodies there that are very similar and quite close in how they play.
Yeah, and watching I was down at Geelong probably about 3 weeks ago now, Ted, and got to see these guys last time they went head to head. Now, it was a really, really close battle. Or correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure it was Geelong who ended up taking by a point. I see a lot of games, so I apologise if I've got that wrong. But it was neck and neck either way. The game could have gone either way. Hume, however, did not have Corey Fittis or Elijah Tay. So that could very well be a different story.
Yeah.
I think the matchup for Corey Fittis can be really difficult for. I'm just not sure Marak's big enough. It might have to be Jack Moran who comes and takes Corey Fittis.
Yeah, I think you're right there. We'll move on to Youth League 2, man. We have Mornington who will take on Sunbury in a do or die to the grand final, with Whittlesea to take on Melbourne University as well. We have pretty much 1v2 versus 1v2 here, which is awesome to see for Youth League 2, man.
The best four teams have got here, Ted.
Yeah, done it by committee here. Congratulations firstly to Melbourne Uni, the first season into Big V, and they've made the finals, and they've done an excellent job. Josh McNally has been fantastic for them. Nick Kiefer was dominant at the start of the season and unfortunately got injured, so I believe he's back in the lineup now. But
certainly is.
We'll touch on Mornington and Sunbury first, because Matt Wolf and Owen Stevenson is going to be they're two obviously different players. Matt Wolf is more of a bigger body, whereas Owen Stevens is that zippy quick guard. So they're two sort of key pieces, Mark.
And Max Cairns, I think, will get the job on. Max Cairns seems to be the one who's running the show for Mornington.
Yep.
I think he'll get the job on Owen Stevens defensively.
Yep.
Owen Stevens is a pure scorer, so he needs to be. You need to have some recognition. But Zach Martinez is his partner in crime, and they're two very potent scoring guards. But Mornington have some pretty good length across the board.
Yeah, they do.
So I think that will deter and slow down Sunbury's offense. So could be a really good one to watch there, and it will go down to the wire, I'm sure. And you look at the Whittlesea Melbourne University game, Ted, and I'm thinking, does Nick Kiefer play a big role trying to reduce Ethan Bateman's impact here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they'll go, quite head to head. They'll bash bodies a lot. They're physical bodies. They're like footy bodies, really. They just crash the glass, and they do distribute quite well. They are sort of team first kind of players. They do get a lot of rebounds, and they can score the ball at ease. There's no doubt about it. But they do look to facilitate first, which I think is very important for the two of them. Especially with Whittlesea with Chase Penono, and Melbourne Uni with McNally. So I think that'll be really important, those four especially.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good battle there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that'll be all for us. Youth League 1, Youth League 2, men, keep it locked. Finals is almost over.